Okay, we're back in with the Black Rose Wars, and now we're going to carry on painting the demons and Infamy of Crete. Now we're using Blood Angels Red, which is a lovely, bright, vibrant red. And should be perfect for the Oni's skin tone. Great detail yet again on the figure itself, and so the contrast paint's really going to just seep into those recesses and give us a really good coverage from that red. Well, we're getting a slight repelling again from the paints, yet again, which has certainly been a common theme with these miniatures for one reason or another. Such a nice vibrant red, that it really is. Just not hitting some parts of it, quite annoying to say the least. So apologies if you were on the previous live stream and you got cut off. Hopefully you find your way back. I'm definitely an advocate for these contrast paints. I think they're just absolutely fantastic. You can obviously do a mix of traditional paints and contrast paints to get the best possible result. But if you want just a quick, decent tabletop finish paint job, just contrasts on their own will be absolutely fine. As I say, especially if you use the Wraithbone spray. Just get under the chin there. Let's use a smaller brush for that part, perhaps. And let's just have a little look. Just making sure I get complete coverage. Okay. Into the hand. I try not to get onto that head there, or I mean, if you do make a mistake, it's not a big problem. You just make sure you got the Wraithbone base with you, handy, and then it's back over the area you want to fix, and then you just paint back over that area with your contrast paint. I can already tell this is going to be an awesome miniature. Now the back. Oops, don't want to go over the hair there. Quick swipe of the thumb will usually get rid of any paint. And just back over But again, you can touch up with the Wraith base, so it's not a huge problem. You can touch up and you can fix things if you make mistakes. You can see the it's starting to dry now on there. You can see the detail that's going to give. It's great. Okay. Now he's actually got a. Carry on the red down the sash here. And obviously being live, this is real time, to give you an idea of how long it takes to paint these miniatures. And it really is a good time saver, contrast paints. And if you didn't know, what you're basically doing, especially in comparison to traditional paints, is you're doing the base, the wash, and the highlight all in one. And that's why it tends to be quicker. Yeah, the paint's really not sticking with some of these bits. But yeah, just beautiful detail across the whole miniature. It really is a painter's dream to have such detail on a miniature. None of that freehand malarkey. Oops. Now oops. Got asked about from one of the viewers about what sleeves I used for. Is that right? I think so. Sorry, I got asked by one of the viewers about the sleeves that I used to sleeve the cards for Black Rose Wars. And I'm just going to go to the smaller brush now. And I wanted to show you, so I'm UK based, and these are the best budget sleeves. Ooh, hang on. The best budget sleeves I've seen and used. Mayday Games card sleeves. This is standard size, but they're just perfect. They're perfect because they leave hardly any gap at the top, which I really like. I bought really cheap ones. obviously you're sleeving a ton of cards, so you don't really want to be paying a fortune. Well, I didn't want to be paying a fortune. They're thin enough that you don't. It's not ridiculous, but they're thick enough to protect the cards and to help for shuffling and everything else. So I recommend those Mayday sleeves myself. I've really been impressed with them. Now I was using Fantasy Flight sleeves for some of it, which I really like, but they've discontinued them, it seems, so you can't actually get them anywhere. Went a bit over the top there, didn't I? Let's try and get rid of that. Now I'll just take away the paint. Where is his ear? Yeah. Like that, perhaps. Quite hard to see where the ear is. Okay. Okay, so that's the red of the Oni. And you can see how nice, as it's starting to dry. Oh, for some reason that's not stuck to it. How nice that's looking. Got that annoying repellent of paint, of course, which is not what you want. Okay. So I'm going to go to the Infamy of Crete. And on the Infamy of Crete, I'm going to be going for the skin colour. So the skin colour is kind of this it's a bit like Apothecary White. It's got more grey in it. So we're going to mix up a colour and try and get it to a similar kind of. So let's put that there. And for this, we're going to use the Apothecary White, Basilicanum Grey, which is another great contrast paint, good for stonework, and Contrast Medium. You might get a little bit of Agaras in there as well. Not Agaras, Gilliman Flesh as well. So doing a bit of a mix here. Get the big brush. So we want a good old dollop of white, of the Apothecary White. Want a decent dollop, because we're going to be adding the contrast medium, so a good brush of that grey to give it that proper grey look. Just trying not to waste loads of paint. And then we're going to get a touch of this Gilliman Flesh just to give it a little bit of that skin tone. Not that much. Perfect. Now that would be quite mucky if I just put it on now. So what we're going to do is just try and release the paint, because there's a fair amount of skin to paint, and I want to get a good probably 2 brushes full. Yeah, probably 2. Don't know actually. Yeah, just another smaller brush full of the other. Okay, so moment of truth. Let's see what we got. Of course, the paint's not sticking. That's annoying. It's really bad, actually. It's a good colour. I'm happy with the colour. I'm not happy with the fact that it's not sticking onto the miniature. So yeah, make sure when you've got your Citadel miniatures you give them a good old wash. I didn't have to do it for the core box. The core box just went on fine. But then, to be fair, I didn't use contrast paints. So, well, I did use contrast paints for some of them, and it was fine. But that's terrible. It's shocking. It's just repelling it completely. So this will be a pain, absolute pain in the ass to paint. Well, that is a shame, a real shame. Because I just don't think it will give a good effect. Because if it's repelling it from certain parts of the skin's going to look all different tones and just be generally rubbish. So what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of all that. I don't want that to ruin the miniature. So literally just grabbing all the paint off that, and then what we're going to have to do is give it a good old clean and maybe respray. What a disaster. Okay, so forget Infamy of Crete. He seems to be the miniature that's not working. The demons seem to be going okay. Not perfect. I mean, they're having their own problems. So let's go in with the orange for the dress of the Nure Honor. So for the orange, hey, hell, bloody Hex. Hey, no worries. I will be carrying on, don't you worry. It's just a shame about the... it's just a shame about the live streaming. Just not being that stable, but hey ho. The recorded video should be fine. Enjoy work. Yeah, Australia, it must be very early. Hey Derek, welcome back. Yeah, it's the Infamy of Crete for you as well. It wasn't just the Infamy of Crete for me though. It was all the bases. All the bases just were not taking it at all. Most of the miniatures, apart from Infamy of Crete, been fine. So yeah, perhaps a similar thing. Maybe it's the mould. I'm not really sure about the process of producing these miniatures, but perhaps the cast that creates the mould, perhaps because of the detailing of Infamy of Crete, perhaps it needs it needs some kind of lubricant to get the miniatures out. I don't know. I'm making stuff up here. I don't actually know if that's the case, but in terms of what would make sense to me, that's what I'm thinking could be the problem. Whatever it is, it's really quite annoying. So yeah, I think trying to get rid of all that would be really useful. I mean, as you can see on this miniature, it seems to be fine. It's going on really nice. Oops. Apart from I'm painting over the white I've just painted, so a little bit more sensible and a bit more careful on the old paint. That should be fine. Oh, hang on. My camera's just drifted slightly now. It's better. So, Derek, how much have you managed to paint on your Sator box? And you must be chuffed as well. I think anyone who got this Sator box, I know that people are still waiting for it to be delivered, so I'm very much aware of that. And apologies if you haven't quite got yours yet. It should be coming very soon, but you will not be disappointed, I can guarantee you that. For such a beautiful game, such a great game, it's so nice to get this much more extra content. And I haven't even got the what is it? The Inferno. I haven't got the Inferno. I haven't got the Hidden Fawns. I've not got the Chrono expansion. I've literally just got the core. And that trust me, that's tons of content anyway. So this Bloodhound orange is a really nice vibrant orange. It's straight out of the pot again. I'm not mixing this one. And the other thing I love about contrast paints is that you're getting immediate results, which just kind of spurs you on a little bit. Because you go, oh, that looks so good. That's awesome. Right, I want to paint the next part of this miniature. I want to see it develop further. Whereas if you're used to traditional painting, you kind of get all the base colours on first. Well, it depends. It depends what you're doing, what miniature you're doing. Sometimes you'll like do all the head first and get the head pretty much completely done, and then you move on to the body or whatever it might be. So it does depend on how the organisation and how you paint. But I would say normally you would get all the base colours on, then you might do a wash, then you might do some highlights, some layering to keep it going. So it takes a little time to get the effect coming through. Whereas with this, it's literally immediate. And as I mentioned just a minute ago, the detailing. I mean, just look at the amount of folds on this Camino. No, that's that's Star Wars. On this, what am I trying to think of? Is it Camino? Camino, is that right? Gi, on this gi, or whatever you want to call this dress. The contrast will just love it. They're just going to give you a really nice effect with really minimal effort, to be honest. Paint over the hair there. Is it? Yeah, it's like a black trim. Trying my best to be as relatively careful. Sorry, I realised I'm off the camera there. I was trying to do the detail work there. Okay. You can always go in with a smaller brush for some of the more detail areas. But as with any painting, it's the tip of your brush that kind of gets you the detail, right? Not necessarily the size. And different quality brushes will give you different quality tips, as simple as that. Oops. So is there anyone in the chat who does who uses contrast paints as well? And what your experiences of using them? I'll paint over that bit, but again, with any of this, if you make mistakes, if you go over bits you don't want to go over, you can always change it up. Now, I've just noticed that she's got a slight colour gradient in the dress. It might be quite nice to get that kind of effect on. So while it's still a slightly bit wet, what I think I'm going to do is add a bit of this orange into here, and then grab some red, some of that Blood Angels red, not too much, and let's see if we can, that might be too much, and I'm just going to go down the, oops, trying to be a bit more careful than that though. Ah. I'm trying to do it a bit faster to try and get a slight blend to it as well, rather than just a straight line. And then the same over here. Totally optional stage, of course. I just quite like the look of that. Yeah, I think that'll work. What I might do is just clean the brush and then just try and blur those lines a little bit more by going over the brush a few times. Okay, so that's her dress now done. I think we missed a bit, didn't we? Yep. Let's get the small brush out and just make sure I've got everything. Just a bit under there, I can see it. Yep. And sometimes it's just a matter of, I'll tell you what, that's what helped. Having the camera really helps with that. It's just spotting any small bits, small errors or whatever it might be. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah, we've gone over the rim. Oh, hang on a minute, is that part of it? No, that's actually part of a tail that I've painted with white. Never mind, it doesn't matter. Okay. Now I'll tell you what would have been quite a good purchase is the art book, just to get full scale artwork for a lot of these characters. That would be pretty cool. That would have worked really well. Now her skin is this pale skin tone, which I'm going to use Gilliman Flesh and just water it down with the contrast medium. If you didn't know, you can't use water with contrast paints because it basically just will stop its effect from happening. It's the gelling agent they're using. You can't use it with water. You can clean it with water, but don't use it with water. So a good dollop of Gilliman Flesh. And then in with the contrast medium. A decent, yeah, I would say a full brush full. Let's get that watered down really quite strongly. She really has got pale skin. Let's have a look. Yeah, nice. Oops. And underside of a kind of neck stays this colour, and then trying to not get it on the white. And there. Across her hands and her arms. And remember, everything kind of dries a bit lighter with contrasts. She's got like scaly arms. It's quite a freaky miniature full stop, really. Okay. And that's a nice pale skin tone there. I'm happy with that. Okay. Didn't need that much paint, but you know, that's fine. Then we're going to move on to, let's do the Oni's trousers, which are this kind of bluey, well, I suppose it's blue, isn't it? I was going to say it's turquoise, but it's more blue. Okay, so I've got this new blue called Leviathan Blue. So we're going to go in with the Leviathan Blue. and I'm going to water it down with a load of contrast medium. So, you know what, we're not going to be able to do Infamy of Crete, so let's clear that well. And I think we finished with the skin, so clear that well. Okay, so in with the blue first of all. Hey, Board Game Dungeon, how you doing? Hey, Jeff. Any chance of you videoing any more all black rose paint? That is the plan, Jeff. If you